What's up, High and Logical? I'm just going to get straight to the topic today. My topic today is mental slavery. My friend Tristan Peterson kind of gave me a really good minor definition to kind of help break that down a little bit, but it's not going to delve too far into it. So, a definition that he came up with that I've gotten from him is mental slavery is something that you would do by the masses, but you're not doing anything for yourself or for the morally good. So, what I mean by that is that our society has taken a toll on wanting to constantly bring fads in to kind of show of how we want to perceive ourselves through our society. We reflect on ourselves when it comes to music, movies, and everything else, and all the messages that they deliver through rap music, and even some other types of music just besides rap music. It's we like to take it into our own lives and our own perspectives. So when rap music is constantly telling us, that's kind of what I feel anyway, is that it's always just about like butter. It's always about trying to get nice stuff and kind of like show off, I feel, to more other people. But that isn't really valuable per se, because a lot of that stuff that they are trying to perceive to push on us doesn't really matter. When it comes to buying jewels and stuff like that, half the jewels that they buy doesn't really matter, and they have influenced us to go out of our own way to think that the jewels are something more superior than what is necessary. We're buying all this other stuff compared to what is actually valuable, like art, land, economics, so on and so forth. And so we're constantly just going into like a reward system and kind of like a money scheme, I feel, in a way, of where we're constantly just trying to get things that we want instead of things that we need. When you buy a 200K chain, what could you do with that $200,000? You could buy stocks, you could buy yourself a house. Like, you can do a lot with just the money that you spend on unnecessary stuff. When it comes to how we buy things, we aren't really, what's the word I'm looking for here? We don't really appreciate for what we already have, for what we're already given. We have to go out of our way to pretty much buy all these nice things to kind of give ourselves recognition, and I really don't feel like it has to be that way for me to respect you because you have a $2,000 chain on, because you have $10,000 worth of Gucci on. Like, you don't need that to show me that you have, for my respect, for me to give you respect. And it's all really about based on your personality and how you are as a person, and that's how some people should do it, not just about how they look and how they perceive themselves. So when we're constantly getting the influence from rap music and movies, we're constantly taking it into how we do other things, and that's how we also kind of like how we treat each other when it comes to how rap music has kind of over sexualized women a little bit. So men kind of like it taken into perspective of to keep over sexualizing. And we don't really take it into the point to where it's all about lust when we do it that way instead of love. We should be able to appreciate people, a woman, a man, of however they are as a person instead of what they're wearing, how much money they have, and so on and so forth. Fame and popularity is a different aspect, and it kind of really just depends on how you use it, like, to really go on with how you do things in society. So to have the fame and recognition isn't always a bad thing, but how we perceive our messages for wanting the fame and recognition is how we influence our own society. People nowadays look to celebrities as idols. People look up to all these famous people as people that they look up to, but not every one of them is decent as people would expect them to be. When you're looking up to specific rappers who are just talking about money and bitches and all that other stuff, is that how can you really deem to grow some respect for yourself from learning from what they are doing? We don't have to be perceiving where we have to constantly be like them, but and I don't really know if it's for a way for them to just kind of be noticeable, and that's okay too. But I feel that there's a way that celebrities could go on about actually influencing our generation, and besides of what they do in their free time. Myself, I am more of the perspective rap artist liker. I like the people that are trying to build society, actually try to teach you things and stuff like that, and that's what I usually look for in my music, not really something that kind of just tells me, or that just reminds me of stuff that I may or may not have, of ways that I could possibly be a better person just because I have a lot of money and stuff like that. It shouldn't work like that. Mental slavery kind of has definitely developed a gap in our society to where we constantly have to be conforming to the fads to be cool, to be noticeable. it's kind of like in a way of where we have to constantly pick sides when it comes to serious topics of abortion, marijuana laws, politics, and stuff like that. It's always a thing where we have to choose sides. And when it comes to people who are in the middle, like me, I like being in the middle. I don't mind both sides. I like to hear it from both perspectives, but not a lot of people like to hear it like that. They're like, you pick that side, you pick that side. You're either pro-life or you're pro-choice. It's always a thing where we're sucked into stuff like that. And people can't really be grateful for your own self-entitled opinion than to just hate on someone for not having nice things, not having money, not deciding on if you're pro-choice or pro-life, if you're deciding if you are Republican or Democrat. It shouldn't matter. You should be able to be like, if you're rich and famous, you should be able to respect people who aren't rich and famous, to give. There's always a point to where you can at least give your opinion, or at least in something in that matter, compared to always having to put people down because they don't have the nice things, because they don't have your opinion as the same opinion as you do. And so now it's just a whole thing to where we're constantly just bashing each other, to where we're constantly tearing each other apart via the people instead of other outside sources having to do it for us. And I feel that that's kind of me anyway, since I'm also a conspiracy nut at the same time too, is that people don't think about it to where we're pretty much fighting each other instead of fighting for what actually matters. We're too busy fighting if you're black, white. We're too busy fighting if you're lesbian and gay. We should all just be equal, be happy with what we decide, with what we have, and just go along with it. Because I feel anyway that we're not going to get very far if we do keep doing that, where we're constantly judging each other, where we're constantly having to be thrown into these fads just for people to go along with it. That you can be completely self-absorbed in any case and still be a decent person. You can still be really self-absorbed and actually still want to do a lot for the world, and that's exactly what I want to do. This YouTube isn't for me to get money, for recognition, for fame. I would like the recognition just for people to understand, to know what I'm talking about. That's the only recognition that I feel. I don't want the recognition just to be notable. I do this because I like doing this. And people as I said before, people deem it weird that I'm going out of my way to not do what the masses want to do, just to speak my opinion about how I feel about most of the masses follow. There's always things that influence what we are influenced by. There's always the outside sources, and when going back to my money scheme, when it comes to people who, like the rappers who are giving out or talking about chains, money, and stuff like that. There seems to be that back influence of where, hey, if you talk about my chains in your rap music, I'll pay you, or they pay them. There's always a back and forth between that, where there's always payment between one group and the other group, just for at least notoriety. And I also have a feeling that when it comes to rap music also influencing our generation with drugs, Big Pharma is, I feel, a really big problem with that too, because now they know that people are able to listen to music just to keep buying Xanax, just keep buying lean. You don't need that's all just a big influence on our generation that we don't need. And I can't say anything about these celebrities and rappers who talk about these things, because most of it is usually just cases of what they have gone through and not really what we have gone through. We like to put her in a situation that we are gangster and stuff like that, but we never really have experienced hardships of what these celebrities have done. When it comes to, these people came from the bottom just to give for their families, just to give for their friends, just to actually feel like they can actually give off to other people around them, to know that they can all be happy, to all be satisfied with their lives and going on with everything else. That's the thing, is that people don't understand when it comes to what people are putting into their music, that what we are putting into our movies, that we should be able to support each other instead of just supporting ourselves just for our own greediness. That's how I feel our society has definitely grown to more, is just always wanting that reward system, always just wanting more and more. And so I feel like that definitely traps us mentally, and also via currency-wise, because if we're constantly going out of our way to buy these chains, to buy these nice clothes, we're constantly putting ourselves in a deficit. You're always trying to get ahead again because you spent it on stuff that doesn't matter, when you could have spent that money that you spent on a vacation, chains, nice clothes. You could have put that towards something that actually can develop over time. Stocks, they develop over time. You're putting your money towards a business that develops over time. And it's the same thing for my YouTube. I can't expect this to happen in one day. I know this is going to have to develop over time. And people need to understand that it comes to a point to what you want to do, it's not going to come instant. And that's kind of how I feel with how people are wanting to do when it comes to their dreams, is that they're kind of just like pushing it. They're not really giving themselves time to breathe, to be able to relax, to be able to notice what is going on around them, because they just want their greediness, they just want the fame, they just want the money. So when you're constantly having to recuperating from summer to winter, you're pretty much, a gain is pretty much a loss. You're never going any forward. You're always just going backwards. Even for people who desubscribe to me, I see that as a setback, but at the same time, it pushes me more just to make sure that I give for what people want, not just to be here just to do like 20 videos of like 3-minute stuff that doesn't really matter. I like being able to take the time to develop on these topics and not be lollygagging on stuff that I don't know. Like if someone tells me I'm wrong on my topic, I'm not gonna give them any hate because they have corrected me. I learn from that mistake and I move on from it. People don't like to do that, and especially when it comes to back to our how people view their own opinions, is that a lot of people get butthurt about it just because that they're told wrong. Some people don't like being told that they are wrong, and if it's also a thing where people are going to get mad at me for calling them out on what I have just called them out on for their bad influencing and so on and so forth, then they can. But in no way do I hate on them for what they want to do, for how they want to perceive themselves, because I in no way should be an influence for that, because I know for a straight fact that they might not listen to me. And I'm not expecting them to listen to me to change their ways, but it's just a thing of where you have to think about that perspective and put it into your own perspective. Just because that some of those celebrities have dealt with hardships doesn't mean you need to put yourself into hardships just to feel like you can actually accomplish something. You can still feel like you can accomplish something without having to put yourself in the deficit, and then that's where you're going to be more beneficial for yourself and for whatever you are doing. Go out and accomplish your dreams and go do whatever you want. That is something that definitely rap music, movies, any other types of music, that is what has definitely has influenced us as a society to do what we like, to what we want. And if you're okay with doing the 9 to 5, and to go to school, do whatever you want, that's fine, as long as you are happy. But don't take it to where you are where you're absorbing everyone else's views and their input on what you want to do, and just do what you like to do. If you want to go buy all the luxury stuff, that's fine. If you actually know that there's an important thin line between deficit and benefit, and that's completely fine. As long as you know that you can at least support yourself, be happy, and feel like you're not constantly downgrading yourself, constantly going into more of a loss and more of a deficit, then I really don't think you have much to worry about. But just take note to what I have said. Take note to everything that is going on around you, because you don't know about how that could be influencing you, your other people, and everything else around you. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I got nothing else. So please like, comment, subscribe, share, and please let me know what you think.